We are on Damien Street in Woodbrook, where we are about to meet a talented son of the soil. Born and grew up in Woodbrook, the Panyard was the center of his life. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm Simply Heather and you are watching Talking to the Stars. This young man has been making his mark on the local music scene over the years. For the past 14 years, he has been one of the frontliners on the popular steel orchestra, Phase 2 Pan Group. He is a panist, a musician, a composer and an arranger, and he's also a businessman. I'm talking about no other than the ever so talented Johann Chuckeree. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much.
When and how did you first become interested in music?
Well, luckily, I grew up in Woodbrook, so that's the first thing that, when you look at the location of where some of the greatest musicians have come from, they've come from Woodbrook. We have Ray Holman, we have Len Bugsy Sharp in terms of pan, we have Ellie Manette with Invaders. So growing up in Woodbrook, I think is something that is crucial to my identity as a musician right now. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that my parents were always ones to push me and my siblings. I have two older sisters by a lot. I'm the baby in the bunch. So they were always the ones to push my sisters to do music. And as a younger child, seeing them do it, it always interested me to do music. And I didn't really like piano at first, but they pushed me into doing piano at the age of 4. So I started to play piano at the age of 4 and didn't really like it. But one day, one of my sisters was playing in the St. Joseph's Convent Steel Orchestra they had at the time, conducted by Anthony Prospect, who was part of the police band before and stuff. And she brought him a pan and she was practicing and she left it there. And I said, well, I was a little pushy now. I said, well, if she could play it, well, I could play it too. And after a while, I was following her and I was able to play little things. And I think by the age of 5, I was playing the national anthem and doing little small performances like that. And I think my dad scared me. He said, well, now you're going into primary school, so now you'll have to play the national anthem every morning. And that scared me off of it for a little while. But another integral thing, besides living in Woodbrook and having my family pushing music, was the church. I go to church at St. Teresa's RC Church, which is just around the corner from my home. And my family has been involved in the music ministry there for many, many, many years. I think my sisters first started in the early 90s, and I joined in 1998. Where I used to play pan at first, and now I play both keyboard, pan, and also drums at Mass on a Saturday evening or Sunday. And yeah, we are there. That's like a second home for us. We are very heavily involved in the church. And then the third aspect of it now, or the fourth, I think we're up to the fourth now, is Phase 2 Pan Groove. Living again in Woodbrook, and the location of it, Phase 2, is directly, well, almost a short walk away from my house. And I used to go down there even as a younger child. My dad would take me down there. The guys in the Panyard even remember me as a little baby riding my tricycle. And there are lots of stories embarrassing stories that they'd love to give. But I started to play there in 2003. My dad took me. He said, I think it's time that you play with a steel band. I fought the idea. I didn't like the idea at all because to me at that point in time, I was afraid. All these older guys and, how would they accept me and stuff. But the rest is history. But I think those 4 things were really crucial to forming me into the musician that I am today.
You have been in every Panorama finals since you've started playing with Phase 2 Pan Group. Was it challenging when you first started? 1, being the youngest player in the band, and 2, balancing the music and your studies at such tender age.
Well, I started with Phase 2 in the year 2003, and I think I was 12 or 13 at the point in time, and compared to the other players in there, I was one of the youngest, if not the youngest player in the band at the time. And like I said, my first impression there, I was a little bit afraid, but after the first week or 2 of rehearsal there, the fear kind of was erased in that the guys were extremely supportive of me. Len Bugsy Sharp was extremely supportive, and not just that too. People were able to see that something about me was a little bit different in terms of the talent that I had. I didn't see it, and up to now sometimes I still don't see it, but they noticed that something was different, and so they gave me bigger responsibilities and they made me learn and they pushed me to do more. So for example, even when I was at that age, when the band would run their section practices, I would be the only tenor band player playing with the basses and stuff. So everybody would sit down and listen to me, almost like if they're judging to see if I'd make a mistake. But at the end of the day, those things are what formed me into who I am, you know. And eventually, even on that season, you would find me teaching some of the older guys in the band. So it was a spectacle at the point in time. This little boy is like, we're going to learn music from this little boy. What's he know, you know? But those kinds of things, like I said, that fear was erased. In terms of balancing with school, as always difficult because our rehearsals at Phase 2 started at 7:30 or 8 p.m. and would sometimes go until the early hours of the morning, midnight, 1, 2 a.m. And so at the beginning it was difficult, you know, but it was something that, when it's something that you really enjoy doing, it's like training as an athlete or as anything else. If there's something that you really enjoy doing, you're going to push yourself. So of course there were times when my teachers would laugh at me. I'm looking tired in their class and tell me, you need to wake up and whatever, but you know, my parents always pushed me to complete homework, to study and that kind of thing. And they were amazed because at that time I was in Form 2, just going into Form 2, and I was doing really well in their exams and stuff like that. So it worked out really well. And again, I was going to Fatima, which is also around the corner. So it's funny, you go to school during the day there, you come home just around the corner, you go to the panel, you see in Fatima, and it's back to church and then home and school and pad. And so it's, you know, that's what I say, location is something that always is great. Yeah.
Today we have with us the ever so talented Johann Chuckeree. What are some of your most outstanding lifetime accomplishments?
I think at this point I've achieved quite a bit in terms of what I set out to achieve. I was a National Youth Award winner, and that meant a lot to me to be recognized in the area of arts and culture nationally. Indigisounds as a company was awarded the Exporter of the Year in terms of our category, small category, growing exporter. That's by the Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Service Industries. So that was an amazing experience as well to be recognized in that fashion. I was featured on a song with Marshall Montano in 2017, and in prior we performed on stage with him for Marshall Monday. Those things are amazing experiences because the stadium is full, and it's an amazing experience to be on that stage. I've been fortunate enough, of course, to be with Phase 2 Pangroove for over 14 years, from 2003 to 2016. Unfortunately, I stopped in 2017. I may be back, but it's just that time and stuff doesn't permit at this point in time. So, you know, winning Panorama with them, it was an amazing experience, you know. Being there with them, I was able to help structure the band, help rehearse the band, and all these different things. And, you know, I think along with the team that we had a winning team. And that you know, showed itself. As I was performing with the band, we won actually 5 Panoramas within the space of 14 years. And the other Panoramas in between were all second places or third places or losses by half a point and 2 points and 1 point and that sort of stuff. So all those things have been amazing experiences. I was able also to perform locally with Heather Headley in 2011 when she had her first concert in Trinidad and Tobago. And I shared the stage with her. We actually did David Rudder's Hammer in a different version, a different way, different arrangement. And you know, just sharing the stage with her is amazing. She's an amazing person. Yeah, she's internationally renowned. Her voice is amazing, and you know, she's just a great person overall. A great Trinidadian, an amazing person. So, I think those are some of the most dear experiences to my heart. You know, I appreciate. I'm thankful for all of those.
We know you have represented Trinidad and Tobago internationally over the years. What are some of your fondest memories?
Well, again, I've been fortunate enough to be involved with different ministries. One of them was the Ministry of Culture, another was the Ministry of Tourism. And I think one of the fondest memories was when Trinidad and Tobago qualified for the World Cup in 2006 in Germany. And at that point in time, I was performing with Phase 2 Pangroove during the year on what they call their stage side. And we were invited to be part of the cultural contingent to Germany for the World Cup. And so that was a very exciting experience to me.
You have collaborated on stage with local artists. But given the opportunity to record with an international artist, who would it be and why?
Well, I think, you know, I've been blessed and very, very lucky. Well, I want to say lucky. I want to say very, very fortunate to be asked by some of the biggest local artists in Trinidad and Tobago, some of the most popular, some of the most well-known artists in Trinidad and Tobago in the fields of pan as well as soca, to be part of their production. So, for example, I was featured with Marshall Montano on one of his songs in 2017. I was featured with Len Booksy Sharp on one of his CDs. I mean, those things are huge for me. Those things are, amazing experiences for me and great. On the flip side, I'd love to be featured with an international artist. I love so many different genres of music. As a musician, you tend to listen to all sorts of music, but there's some pop in particular, like Bruno Mars, for example, where, his music is so interesting and there's so much depth and character to it and so much orchestration. So one of the guys I'd love to perform with is Bruno Mars. If ever I was able to be featured by somebody, I would love to be, featured on stage with him. And, even nowadays, in the past, when they say, well, you like Justin Bieber's music, that was a bad thing. But his music has now become rounded in terms of there is a reggae vibe to it and a Latin vibe to it. Yeah. So, like things like Despacito and those kinds of things, anything like that where, you can really express the song or your emotion on pan in terms of that. So, yes, there are lots of international recording artists I would love to be featured by, and hopefully maybe one day that may come true.
Next time on Talking to the Stars.
Is there a big comparison in sound to our acoustic steel pan? And would you recommend it?
A lot of producers and musicians, it's a go-to for them now because they can tell that the quality is almost identical to what a steel pan is. Nothing will ever replace what the acoustic steel pan is, but it's a close competitor in terms of, if you're a producer who can only play keyboard or only play a MIDI device, you don't need to have the skill to actually play the physical instrument in order to achieve the correct sound or the correct action or the authentic sound of the instrument then to do your production.